Throughout our history, the Rules Committee has met to discuss many historic measures, and today is no exception. We are making history once again, and to discuss events that will forever stain this great institution in our democracy. I speak today in support of the Raskin resolution, a call for Vice President Pence to live up to the oath he swore upon taking office. An oath that says he will protect the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. And as we meet with wounded hearts in our wounded Capitol building, there is no debate that these hollow halls were violated last week. There is no debate that the mob that breached these walls and it was energized by misinformation, bald-faced lies, and claims that are in direct odds with our Constitution. And there is no debate as to who misled those people, who sent them here to ravage our Capitol, who it was who undermined our American democracy. President Trump, that's who it was. He called for insurrection on social media, on a stage with television cameras capturing his every word. I'm saddened that my colleagues will dare to stand on that stage and do the same. 6 Americans are now dead. 2 of them were Capitol Police officers. More than 50 officers were injured, 15 hospitalized. Trump incited this attack, and there should be no question as to what Vice President Pence needs to do right now. Like many of you, some of you, I was caught up in that attack last week. I was one of 12 trapped in the House gallery. I heard the shot being fired. I saw the smoke from the tear gas having been deployed. And I watched one officer with no protective equipment face a raging mob just outside the chamber. We crawled across the entire length of that balcony. I was in the last group to be evacuated. We ran down the halls, stairs, near a mob that was being held on the ground at gunpoint. I sheltered for 4 to 5 hours in a room that was packed shoulder to shoulder with people. Adding more trauma to the riot we had just survived were several Republican colleagues refusing to wear a mask. As a result, many of my dear colleagues and friends have tested positive. I'm waiting my results. I know some of you had similar experiences. The horror didn't care what chamber you served in. But I do know that in the balcony, it was Democrats and members of the press. Ask yourselves, is gunfire in the Speaker's lobby a new normal that you're willing to accept? Should ransacked offices be part of the job going forward? A relic from our time in service that future members will have to deal with? And if it's not, ask yourselves, what are you willing to do about it? Do you have the courage to stand up for basic American principles? The Raskin resolution is not a political document. It takes no partisan position. And anyone who says otherwise is being irresponsible and is continuing to advance the hateful agenda of Donald Trump. How dare you? How dare you incite a mob to stop the final step in certifying our election, simply because they want to pick and choose whose vote should count and whose votes should not count. It calls on one man with the power to protect all of us, our institution, from this increasingly authoritarian president, to do just that, invoke the 25th Amendment and live up to the oath that he swore. Given the news of impeding armed protests here and at every capital across our country this coming week, Vice President Pence's action cannot come soon enough. Consider the full gravity of the attack last week. Yes, it was an attack on Democrat lawmakers, on this beloved building, and on Vice President Pence. They wanted to hang him. But Congress was convened last Wednesday for the ceremonial certification of our election results. So this was also an attack on our democracy. It was an attack on the peaceful transfer of power, an attack on our Constitution and the rule of law. It was an attack on the symbolism that we've provided to the entire world, that a people can govern themselves without the threat of force or the violence. And it was an attack that almost worked. All of us has a role to play in undoing the damage that President Trump has done. I urge my colleagues, when I was finally evacuated at 3 p.m. and while running for my life, I answered my phone to my son, Christopher. The call lasted 27 seconds. All I could say, sweetheart, I'm okay. I'm running for my life. And I hung up. I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to join me in supporting this resolution. But most of all, I urge Vice President Pence to do the right thing. Not for you, sir. Not for me. Not for any one of us here in Congress. But for the future of America. We are counting on you to do the right thing and invoke the 25th Amendment. Now,